Let's go.
Wednesday afternoon.
Recording. Welcome back. Right, Femo, do you want to do the introduction for the football referee, please?
Yeah. So, welcome everyone to another exciting edition of the football referee. We hope as we go along, all the discussions we're going to have is going to be very interesting and you're going to really have fun. So from me here, Femi, and he calls me Femo.
And I'm Trevor Gear, and he calls me bruv.
And I'm Emmy Hikins, and he calls me Cuz. So, Gary Lineker. Gary Lineker's tenure as the host of the Match of the Day, as the host of Match of the Day, is coming to an end. Now, who do you think is suitable? Would be a suitable replacement for it?
Apparently they've offered it to Mark Chapman, who does Match of the Day 2 on a Sunday night. But there's a but there.
Right.
They've offered it to him as a co-presenter with Kelly Somers, who also works for the BBC. She interviews some of the footballers before or after the game. And I think she's very good at what she does. She's very knowledgeable. But Mark Chapman apparently has said he doesn't like the idea. I don't think it's nothing personal to Kelly, but I think he feels, having done Match of the Day 2 on Sunday nights, he should be, if they want to offer it to him, he should have it to himself, so to speak, with occasional absences where someone fills in, rather than alternate weeks, which is what the BBC were proposing. And interestingly, just to also say, apparently I was reading today that Gary Lineker offered to take a reduction in his salary from 1.35 million to £1 million. So he was prepared to drop £350,000. But the relatively new boss of sport, etc., at the BBC, is a chap in his 30s, actually, wants a new broom, wants a complete refresh of this. Gary has been there since 1999, I believe. So he wants a brand new situation. But it seems his first suggestion of a co-presenting between Mark Chapman and Kelly Somers hasn't been accepted. So it'll be interesting to see where they go from here. Lastly, my own view would be, let Mark Chapman have the Saturday Match of the Day, let Kelly have Sunday Match of the Day too. That would tick all the boxes, etc. And they're both talented people. So I think that would be an obvious answer to that.
Yeah. Oh.
So Gary Lineker leaving the Match of the Day, is he a matter of choice, or is he just that because of like the salary or something like that? Are they not being able to pay what he's asking for? Is that why they're changing it, or is just Gary Lineker saying, "Oh, I've been here for a long time. I want to do something else"?
Yeah, that's a good question. So,
or
did he jump? Yeah, sorry, Prof.
Well, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, Emmy.
No, you can take it.
Yeah, I'm only going to say that the fact that Gary apparently offered to take quite a reduction in his salary, and of course he's been very much the top-paid BBC presenter for some years, so I think that's grated a bit with the BBC. But the fact that he offered that suggested he would like to continue. Now, he will apparently cover the World Cup at the end of next season. Or at least that's in 26, I believe, the World Cup.
26, yes. Yeah.
So he's going to cover that, and also he'll do some cup matches and things like that, but not the Match of the Day. And I just think that this new broom fellow at the BBC, I can't remember his name, but his effect has already been felt in other areas of the BBC, not just the sport. He clearly is a young fellow, a new broom, and I think I'd be surprised if Gary Lineker's political tweets and so on, which kind of go a bit against his role as a sports presenter. I'd be surprised if that hasn't come into it. I think that now there's been so much criticism over the last few years, it's probably easier for the BBC not to have to deal with that anymore. But let's face it, after 25 years, that's more than enough.
Saw Femi and the ladies, Dots of Gladys and Phantom and Rose. We all have a lovely show every weekday. So join us for a lovely show.
Say hello to Phantom.
That anymore. But let's face it, after 25 years, that's more than enough probably for anybody, both the presenter himself and the company. I mean, it's half a lifetime, isn't it, in television terms? So I think it's a good idea that they start again with a refreshed approach to Match of the Day. It's an iconic program which I think has been going, I believe, since about 1964, something like that. So it's quite phenomenal. It's their jewel in the crown, really.
Yeah.
Right. I see now.
Yeah.
So it's understandable that maybe because of the because my own view is why change a winning team.
Right. Okay.
He's been there. He's doing fantastically well. Why change it? I'm of the opinion that if he comes out publicly and say, "Oh, I want to try something else," or he says, "Oh, my health is affecting these," or whatever, then fine. Then you have like a very, or if BBC comes out and say, "Okay, we don't like the way he brings in politics into it and stuff like that, so we are relieving him of his job or bringing something," you must give us a very good reason why we're not going to have him there anymore, because we're all enjoying it. So if you give us a good reason, we might say, all right, that's a good reason for Gary Lineker not being there. Because I'll be honest with you, that voice has stuck in my head. When I hear that, I say, "Oh, that's a match of the day. That's a match of the day." Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So they must give us a good reason. Or Gary Lineker say, "Oh, it's affecting my health or family or something like that." Then, but if it's a winning team, why change a winning team? Yeah. But change is the only thing you cannot stop. Change is consistent, and when change comes, accept it and move on with it. Who knows this new other guy? If he comes in, his voice might even. I don't know this other guy anyway, so his voice might even be, because this thing is a voice. It's the voice. Yeah. If you look at Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, that guy that does it, then brilliant. Once you hear that voice, it clicks. You don't even have to think twice. Sometimes you hear his voice somewhere else, or the sound of the soundtrack and stuff like that. It's the same thing with this guy in Nigeria, something Edo that does the Who Wants to Be a Millionaire in Nigeria. Once you hear that voice, Who Wants to Be a Millionaire is on. So with things like that, if you only change it when it is really compulsory, that's my own opinion now. When it's really compulsory, you have to change it. But if it has to do with salary or something like that, anyway, salary as well. Most of the businesses these days, all businesses want to make profit in it. So if there's a way they can cut their cost, they will cut it, whichever way. So it's one of those things in life. Yeah.
Well, my question is, and I'm just looking at it from a completely different angle. My question is, does he actually make that much of a difference to Match of the Day? Because you're watching Match of the Day, you're watching football. There is his analysis, right? So his analysis, and then he brings in, famous faces as well. Alan Shearer or whoever else he brings in.
Alan Shearer.
Alan Shearer. I think Alan Shearer is a regular on there, isn't he? And you think, well, would it make much of a difference if Bro, for instance, if you presented it, so you sat there and you go, "Welcome to Match of the Day live," would people stop watching it? Would they lose viewers? I don't think so.
It's not that. It's not going to lose viewers, right?
Okay.
People will not stop watching it.
Right.
But at the initial stage of that change, you know, people don't really, they say, oh, there's a difference, but as time goes on,
Yeah.
whoever is on it start doing it and becomes a regular, and the voice now becomes like, you know, normal. I say normal to people now. Unlike they're not hearing Lineker's voice anymore. This other voice is strange.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Then that voice, because before Lineker came in, somebody else was doing it, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? Somebody else was doing it. So before he gets on top of it, and people now get to recognize and realize or recognize that voice, he a little bit like until people get to, you know, fall in love with that voice.
Femi and the ladies, Dr. Gladys and Phantom and Rose. We all have a lovely show every weekday, so join us for a lovely show.
Say hello to Phantom